Someone that I'm sure played in plenty of cold weather games is going to join us right now. Our guy Danan Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver. He will be in the warm broadcast booth, though, Saturday night on the call with Mitch Holthus, Dan Israel, as you're making Kling obviously do his job down on the sideline. You're going to be nice and warm, though, Danan.
Yes, we will be warm in the confines, the closed confines of the radio booth at Arrowhead Stadium. So, yeah, we feel for Kling. We'll be praying for him, but I do not envy him at all.
What's the coldest game you played in? I mean, you played in Kansas City for starters, and you played in you were around the Midwest your whole playing career.
Yeah, I played against the Colts in '96 in that playoff game, which was freezing. The coldest game I've been to was actually the AFC Championship when we played Tom Brady and the Patriots. I thought that was a freezing day just to be there doing the pregame and postgame shows. But from a playing standpoint, playing against the Colts in that playoff game in '96 was as cold as I could remember, yes.
And it's supposed to be colder, of course, this Saturday. Actually, the reference I made on Twitter, which actually feels right, Danan, for this is they're letting fans bring in cardboard. They had kind of stopped doing that, but it's going to be so cold they're going to let them bring in cardboard. And essentially the Chiefs are playing Marty Ball offense. We're back in the 90s.
Yeah, we're going to have a little flashback to 3 yards in a cloud of snow, I guess you could say. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think this is one of those games where the toughness is going to prevail. Who's going to be tougher? Who's going to allow the elements to affect them, their catching, their running, their tackling? The tackling part is the key. I was talking with some people earlier this week, and I said, if you go back and look at film, I know our buddy Sean Barber always likes to watch the All-22, and Binkley does too. But if you go back and watch games in September, and this is yearly, this is in every level, college, high school, pro level, et cetera. Go back and watch early season games and then go back and watch late season games. Same season, same guys, and you just see different techniques. Not that they're doing it on purpose, but the weather affects you subconsciously. Do you wrap up in your tackling, or do you just try to shoot your body through a ball carrier? Do you hold the ball tighter, and then that makes you less shifty when you're running the ball? Then when it's warm out, do you catch the ball with your hands when it's warm out, and now you catch it with your body? So it's kind of one of those deals where it's mind over matter, that you just have to go out there and play and not try to think about the elements, but they are a factor. And to me, the team that's going to be tougher within those elements is going to be the winning team.
That's, I think, why Alex and I are growing maybe concerningly confident, weirdly enough, for Saturday, is that they don't have anyone left on their defensive line. The Chiefs have proven to be a better running team, I feel like, lately from an offensive line perspective than even maybe in pass protection. And it's not like that's been a physical team at any point this year on defense. So, like, to me, it's like at some stage, I do start to think that the Chiefs have the decided advantage based on all the things you're saying, Danan.
Well, I think there's always an advantage when we're playing at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium. It still reigns true. Even back when I played, we thought the other team was down 7-0 before the kickoff, just because of the atmosphere, because of the fans, because of the involvement, because of the noise, all of that. But then when you amp it up into the playoff mode and our successes here in Kansas City, you're putting a lot of pressure on any opponent that comes in. Now, with that being said, I will say, even if you want to contend that the Dolphins aren't as physical, they do have a track team of guys that if you break a tackle, if you lose containment, which we saw a little bit of that last week, you can bet your bottom dollar that there's going to be a guy that can turn the corner and take it to the house. If you let a jet sweep with Tyreek Hill go, or if you have Mostert, if he's back and he's able to get to the edge, now it's him running on the hard turf or the cold turf with you chasing him, and who's going to be the guy that's going to run faster in that circumstance. So, there is a component of who's tougher, but I feel like you have to be disciplined, and discipline starts between your ears in these type of elements. And it's going to be cold for both teams. It's going to be cold for the coaches. You got communication, play calling, the helmets, what you're hearing inside the helmets, the crowd noise and how that affects everything. Deep passing. Are you going to take some chances downfield and throw the ball downfield, or are you going to try to nickel and dime down the field to have ball control? So all of those factors come into play. It's good that we're able to practice within the elements. The Chiefs were out at practice outside yesterday. Don't think they're going to go outside every day, but to experience that on a short week for both teams, I like our chances. I think we'll be the tougher team. It's just a matter of execution in the game.
How big do you think it is, though? Like a player, Travis Kelce, got that extra rest last week. I know he wasn't the only one, but I think we all could recognize, given his age and just he seemed like he's been beat up a lot the last year, and this has also probably just been a very frustrating season on top of it. I feel like I'm excited to see what could be a fresh and healthy Travis Kelce on Saturday, too.
Oh, absolutely, because it's one thing to have the extra rest, guys, but it's the other thing of not getting dinged up in that last game, not having a twisted ankle or a stubbed toe or anything that, even though if you were Travis Kelce, you might have played a couple of series, maybe one series to get your marker 1,000-yard season over. Who would know what would happen during the warm-ups, during that series? So it's not just about, okay, well, he got an extra week of rest because he practiced every day last week. He practiced every day this week. So he didn't technically get a full week rest. What he did get is an opportunity or one less opportunity for people to be banging on him. And that can bode well in this circumstance. But again, I don't think the rest factor is as big as the weather factor. Like, playing in that is different. When guys are huddled up by the heaters or sitting on the bench to stay warm, you may not have as much communication on the sideline. Guys are focused on, in their own little bubble as far as staying warm and what their tasks are. But is there communication going on the sideline where you're preparing for the next series, you're preparing for something maybe you saw and got a glimpse of early in the game? Or is it just about self-preservation? So, it's so many different factors that go into what you're doing on the field. The coaches, are you going to be interacting with the players as much, or are you going to be trying to keep yourself warm on the sideline? Is the energy going to be the same on the sideline when you're going on and off the field, the communication and packages? We know that the Chiefs team, we like to rotate a lot of bodies in. Different defensive formations, different guys. Chris Jones moving to outside from inside, Derek Nottie being on the inside, but then you bring in Tershawn Wharton and Mike Danan. You move him over to the nose guard. Last week we saw George Karlaftis over the nose guard in different packages. All of that happening when you're talking about 2 degrees or maybe even negative degrees during the game at night. Those are the things I'm concerned about, as opposed to the rest that we had last week.
Speaking of former Chiefs wide receiver, current color analyst Danan Hughes here on Cody and Gold. Danan, you were on the Chiefs when Neil Smith made his return to Kansas City as a member of the Denver Broncos. So you've got some unique experience or perspective on this, on what it'll be like when Tyreek Hill returns to Kansas City. A little bit of a difference. Neil Smith winning one championship with a different team. Tyreek Hill won one here, and then they won one without him. What do you think it'll be like for Tyreek on Saturday?
Yeah, I think it'll be different. Neil, at that time that he returned, he had not won the first Super Bowl yet. We had actually beat them on Stoyanovic's last-second field goal, and there's a video of him pacing up and down the sideline upset, which was fun for us. But for Tyreek, it's different because of social media and all the chatter that he's participated in, and some of the digs and jabs that he's thrown at the organization since he's left, and talking about Tua being better than Patrick Mahomes or being more accurate, and just those little slights. I feel like it's very similar to more similar to Jamar Chase than it is to Neil Smith, because Jamar was challenging our defense. Even the mic'd up comments that he made in Germany right before he fumbled, and we had the scoop and score by Brian Cook. That's a different dynamic for our defense, and the challenge of, you don't want that guy who's going to go down as an icon in Kansas City history, even though he left. You don't want that guy to get off in this game on this turf. I was part of the program. I wouldn't say I was part of the broadcast, the pregame and postgame show with one of the most electric times that I had been at Arrowhead Stadium when we were playing the Raiders. I want to say it was Monday night or Sunday night, and the crowd was chanting Tyreek's name prior to a punt return.
Yeah.
And he took it to the house, and the place erupted. First, I had never heard, even during the Dante Hall and Tamarick Vanover era, I never heard I never heard the fans chant one guy's name that loud, all together. And the fact that he was able to take it to the house just tells you what kind of electric player he can be. And these guys don't want that. Like, we don't want to hear the boos because he made a big play. We want to hear the boos because he made a mistake like he did in Germany. So it's important for him, I'm sure. I'm sure he would have liked it to be in a warmer time. But fact remains is this is where we stand right now. We got to stop him.
We're talking to Danan Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver. He'll be part of the broadcast on Saturday night over on 106.5 The Wolf. Huge news in the last 24, 48 hours just in coaching world. And whether it was initially Mike Vrabel getting fired, then it's Pete Carroll, then it's Nick Saban retiring from college football. Bill Belichick is in part ways today in a presser in about 15 minutes, although it looks like he's going to coach again. Is this specifically with Nick Saban just, hey, new era, NIL, all this, and maybe a guy's just tired of change? Or do you think there's, I guess, more of a theme going on here across the board?
I think there's a mixture. I was surprised. I mean, I think, what did we say, maybe a couple of years ago, Dabo Swinney was supposed to be the one that was retiring because, he didn't want to have NIL be a factor and God forbid, players being able to utilize their presence and popularity to gain any kind of money. So it's interesting to see that he's still coaching, but from perspective with Nick Saban and those guys, I just feel like there's times where you recognize that the game may be moving past you, not necessarily the X's and O's, but everything that's encompassed, the recruiting, the re-recruiting, the transfer portal. You're going into living rooms and making promises that a lot of times I don't think these coaches really believe. I know that one of the more valued aspects of my existence and commitment to the University of Iowa was because Hayden Fry came in my living room and promised me, my parents, that he would give me an opportunity as a student athlete at the University of Iowa and to play baseball. And to think that there are some kids now, a lot of kids, that are getting that same speech, and then the coaches leave and know that they won't be able to live up to that because they could be recruiting a transfer guy to come in. You're talking about top quarterbacks, top position players, and in the back of your mind that you have other quarterbacks proven at different programs that are willing to come to you. But I have to do all that and juggle all that, being older than 70 years old and dealing with all the extras, and then now seeing some more parity at the college level. I just think that the game just passes guys, and you realize there's more to life than juggling all that is encompassed in college football. So props to them. They accomplish a lot. He'll go down as the greatest or one of the greatest college coaches ever. But, I'm not totally surprised in this day and age that those guys are turning away from their long-lasting career.
Danan Hughes, players only tonight, right?
Yes, sir. We'll be have Kendall Gammon in there with me, so another special teams guy. So we'll be able to chat up some Chiefs and hopefully move towards a win this Saturday.